Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan battle video. In this video we are going to be taking a look at the physical Ultimate Gohan and just how good he is in DBZ Dokkan battle after his release on Global and JP as part of part 3 of the movie collaboration event. Now Gohan is a pretty crazy, pretty awesome unit. I think a lot of players really like the idea of Beast Gohan, but I think a lot of them were a little bit turned away by the fact that he's just Ultimate Gohan. But for me, he looks pretty good still. I don't think he's bad in any way, shape or form. So yeah, I can understand where people are coming from, but to me, I just think he's still really good. And he is a superheroes or hybrid Saiyans category lead of Ki +3 and HP attack and defense of 170%. He has an additional HP attack and defense of 30% for characters who belong to the bond of parent and child, and to the movie heroes category. He greatly raises attack and defense for 1 turn on his 18 key, causes mega colossal damage to the enemy, and lowers attack and defense of them. He also greatly raises attack and defense for 1 turn, and causes colossal damage to the enemy with a medium chance of stunning on his 12 key. I think something that would have been pretty good is to just make him stack defense like Piccolo on his 12 key, and he would have been fine. But anyway, he activates the entrance animation once only and has attack and defense of 100% and guards all attacks for 3 turns from start of turn when there is another bond of parent and child category ally on the team at the start of his attacking turn. And then he also has basically, well, some pretty straightforward other abilities. He will gain an additional attack and defense of 30% with each super attack performed. He gets Ki +1 per Ki super obtained. He launches an additional attack that has a great chance of becoming a super attack when Ki is 20 or more, and he has attacks effective against all types when activating the active skill or when Ki is 24. He has a high chance of nullifying Ki blast based supers directed at the character. His active skill will greatly raise attack temporarily and cause ultimate damage to the enemy, which is really decent, and disables the enemy's action, which is an interrupt, which is something that's super helpful in a lot of content. It can be activated when all allies attacking the same turn are superhero category allies, starting from the 3rd turn from the start of battle, or when facing only one enemy, starting from the 6th turn from the start of battle. So both of those are fine. I think everything else about them is pretty decent. All in the family, Saiyan Warrior Race, Infighter, Shocking Speed, Kamehameha, Fierce Battle, and Legendary Power. I do wish they got rid of Infighter for something else. Another key link would have been great, or just given them +3 key. It's super important to get to 18 key with this guy, and it's even more important to get to 20 key to proc the additional super. So I think that's really the only slight complaint I would have. His Ki can be a little bit inconsistent. We're going to be trying him out on hybrid Saiyans teams. He doesn't have a lot of great linking partners. Like, he doesn't have a lot of linking partners that give him huge links. He's got a couple really decent ones, like Tech Teen Gohan, once he's transformed into Tech Ultimate Gohan. He also links up relatively decently with Strength Ultimate Gohan and also some Super Saiyan 2 Gohans, which does make some sense. Although, like I said, it is just a little bit strange, I think, for him as a unit, just in general, with how he's currently functioning. His link set's a little bit wonky. But yeah, beyond that, I think everything about him is pretty good. He does take a little bit longer to kind of build up comparatively to Piccolo. So one thing I will say, because Piccolo builds up based on hits received, you can place Piccolo in harm's way and he can absorb several hits of damage in a single go. Whereas with Gohan, it's distinctly a little bit more difficult for him to build up hits. It is just one of those things. Now, of course, it's not entirely needed or anything like that, for you to fully build him up super quickly, but it is something that I think a lot of players, would rather he do more than anything else. So the idea to build him up super quick is obviously to get his 20 key. That can be a little bit inconsistent, as you can see. Getting him key especially when you don't have shocking speed active, is quite difficult. Even with key supports, could be a change in the meta for next year. Maybe they are looking at, let's say, doing more consistent 3 or 4 key supports. Maybe that will become more of a meta. Maybe key will become less of a thing, and they will focus on us having the ability to have, a lot of key easily. That could be something that they do. Would be interesting to see if that's a change in the meta, but so far so good. Stats are looking pretty decent. Obviously, another thing I will say is that, the big thing is it is just raw defense. I think that is something, that we do have to accept as well with Gohan. He doesn't have damage reduction. Like Piccolo, for example, who has that kind of, 20% damage reduction. It does tend to take a little bit of the sting out when you are looking at maybe some of the more intensive sort of like damage abilities and things like that. So that does help a little bit, I want to say. It's not massive. It's not like, when I say it's not massive, when you get to such high levels of defense like Piccolo, like Gohan, it does tend to help out quite a bit. It does take the edge off of some of these big supers, because all of a sudden you just coupled with your high defense, tend to be more than fine. But we can see here the defense is slowly building up. It's always going to be super difficult to see a unit like Gohan get to his max in a Dokkan event, so we will be taking him into some slightly different events, just because, like I say, it is difficult. It's hard because the units don't have enough health really to absorb his attacks early on. He does effective against all types, which means that he basically is always doing type advantage damage. And in events like this where they don't have high levels of damage reduction, they do just kind of get chewed up and spat out by him. As you can see though, he is looking a little bit better in terms of his just overall stats, I want to say. But yeah, definitely still not anywhere close to being built up, so it's just kind of more a precursor into what Gohan could be more than what he actually is, which is fine. Again, you don't need Gohan to be distinctly good or distinctly anything major, but he is definitely a unit I think that players will appreciate more over time as they build him up better, like in events where he can build up. Right now it's a bit difficult for him because, to be honest with you, he actually just does too much damage for the most part. Gohan really does just do too much damage for a lot of events. Like at even super hard events, Gohan will just almost blitz through, which is fine. Again, it's not a huge issue, but it is just something you do need to be aware of. Gohan can just kind of chew through events, and that's a good thing in a way. But it does mean that due to the fact that his defense builds up on his super attacks, if he chews through the events a bit too hard, he can almost end up kind of gimping himself a little bit, which maybe isn't by design, but it is still one of those things. But Gohan still looked pretty good, really nice damage. Defense does build up very, very nicely. If you can get those additional super attacks, he'll build up super quickly, so you won't have any major issues. And you should have a pretty decent experience with him. So yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about him. I think he looks really, really good. He looks especially good alongside the transformed Tech Ultimate Gohan. They make such a good pairing, and their timing is pretty nice as well. If you can get a couple stacks with Tech Ultimate Gohan, all of a sudden you can have a pretty decent time, and you're not really suffering with anything, and you can tend to start to look really, really good, I think, which is always a really nice, fun pairing to do. I think especially since Gohan is a second slot unit, to be so very well prepped and paired with the tech version of himself, basically, I think is something is good overall. At least for me, I think it's very, very good. So I would highly suggest that you do it. But obviously, yeah, like I said, the big thing is the fact that he just doesn't seem to have a lot of good pairing partners outside of SS2 Gohans. It would be nice to see how he pairs up with AGL Gohan, maybe when he gets an EZA or something. But right now his 5-link pairs are literally Kaioken Goku, the Mystic Gohan, and the Gohan and Krillin. So really nothing too crazy. And then you've got a couple like Super Saiyan Gokus and things like that, which I think a lot of players can pair him up with. But the big thing is your lack of ki. Like, lack of ki is going to affect you a lot in general with like many of these units. And that is something I think players have to a certain extent, not accept, because it's not great. You're going to have to compensate for it. You are going to have to actively put key supports on the rotations. There's some great key supports on the hybrid Saiyans, very fortunately. But yeah, you are going to have to consider looking into these type of things, building around Gohan. Gohan's definitely a unit you want to build around more so than anything. So it is just something you're going to have to like partake in, and that's just one of those things. But yeah, Gohan is looking really solid. Again, just pairing up really nicely to do some good damage. We are, like I said, we're just going to have to go into harder events to build him up. So you're getting kind of just snapshots of what he can be. But we do need to, basically do something a bit different, I think. So yeah, for me, it is just one of those things. Honestly, we're gonna go into better content now and get a better look at Gohan. So I do think we need to do him that service at least, and then we can obviously see how things go from there. But yeah, for me, I do think Gohan is good. I just think he needs that little bit of catering and care. Yeah, you can see he's getting a little bit of that, and the defense is at 400k, which is nice. It is definitely good. It does go up a lot on Super as well. So, you do have that ability to really build up a little bit. He's got 5 key links here. We're going to get the B-Pan active skill, which is fantastic. We're going to be using his active skill. So you're going to see him do quite a lot of really cool animations. So be prepared for that. I think this is probably the most exciting part of Gohan, is his animations. I just think this active skill especially is possibly the best in the game. So just enjoy it, and we'll come back and talk a little bit about his performance.
Guess it's my turn. Special beam cannon!
So yeah, pretty much the best active skill in the game. I don't think there's any doubt about that, at least for me. I personally have no disagreements with it being the best one in the game. I think, honestly speaking, it's definitely the best in the game for me. I think it looks spectacular. It looks just like the movie. And yeah, Gohan's gonna do some pretty nutty damage. You can see there 15 million. That's obviously coupled with a lot of things, but that's still not really his max power. That's not 18 key. I mean, that's not 24 key bonus modifier. There's no support on this rotation. There's still a lot of things. He's not link level 10 either. Gear wasn't maxed out on this character. There's a lot actually that can still be improved with Gohan. Here you can see with the support, by the way, that defense shoots up to 500k. Very good. If you can get the key with Gohan, he also has guaranteed double supers, so that defense is not bad by any means. It will be pretty solid after he supers twice. So Gohan is good. The question is getting him there. is rather, well, not difficult, it can be challenging in some forms of content. You need to transform Tech Ultimate Gohan, you need Gohan to fully build up, and those usually only happen around turn, I want to say 8, like turn 6 or 8. And not that that's super far into content, but it isn't necessarily super early either. And I think that's where a lot of people kind of struggle with the notion of Gohan as character. Respectfully, Piccolo can just get there a lot faster. Because Piccolo gets hit to activate his stacks, it changes how he functions as a unit. He can get there a lot faster, there's a lot less kind of catering involved. And because no one really cares about Piccolo's offense, not that it's bad, it's very, very good, but because no one cares too much about Piccolo's offense, because of the fact that he's such a fantastic defensive juggernaut, it is a little bit limiting when you consider just how, like obviously, when you consider just how much Gohan does actually have to offer. But yeah, in terms of links, yeah, to be honest with you, based on how he works and having used him, I think more than anything else, Shocking Speed is basically the key link that we have to use. Like, I think, without looking at anything else, I think Shocking Speed is most certainly the most important link that Gohan has. And it's just because of the key. It's 100% because of the key. Gohan needs the key. He needs key. He has to have key. I think it's just so important to him as a unit, how he functions, how everything comes together. It's imperative to give Gohan key. And you can only really do that with Shocking Speed. Obviously, like I suggested before, you've got support, you've got things like that that do help. And they will help you, and you will have a better time. But it is 100% super important to get him that extra 2 key. Mr. Gohan's another great pairing partner for him. Then he transforms, then bam, 2 key. All of a sudden, woo, he's looking crazy. It is just one of those things. So for me, having used him a couple times, having used him in a couple events for some showcases and reviews and things like that, I think if you get him the key, he looks different. He looks like a completely different unit. We're talking consistent, 10, 9, 11 million attack stats, huge damage, just massive damage. Defense is great after super. He just looks really good. It's super difficult. It's super duper difficult, I think, because Gohan can look so good and look so not too great, just depending on your key. So yeah, it is something I think that's interesting. Obviously, in the long run, I think he should be fine. I do think maybe they'll bring out a 4 key support. Maybe they'll start bringing out higher key supports. But yeah, I do think he will be fine in the long run. I just think maybe now he is struggling a little bit. But that's going to be it from me. And I'll see you guys in the next one. So until then, take care, stay safe. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.